Welcome to the HCI family of podcasts. We're your source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We share our own original research, explore industry trends, and interview executives and thought leaders from across the globe. Join us for practitioner-oriented content around all things leadership, HR, talent management, organizational development, and change management. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with the HCI family of podcasts. Lynn Blades, welcome to the conversation today.
Thank you for having me, John.
It's a real pleasure to be with you. You're joining us from London. I'm south of Salt Lake City in Utah. And today we're going to be talking about your new book, The Quiet Burn, The Ambitious Woman's Guide to Recognizing and Preventing Burnout. Wonderful topic. I'm not a woman, but I do know a thing or two about burnout. I've experienced that. I'm excited to pick your brain and hear your thoughts, your experiences, and your wisdom around burnout as it applies to women in life, women in the workplace. And I think this will be a really fun conversation. As we get started, I wanted to share Lynn's bio with everybody. Lynn Blades is the founder of Legacy Leadership, an executive leadership consultancy, and a dedicated DEI advocate. She has strived to cultivate a 21st century leadership workforce that truly reflects the diversity of our society. Blades is a distinguished Marshall Goldsmith elite executive coach with 2 decades of experience guiding a diverse range of clients. She has coached C-suite executives, directors, and their teams across various industries. Her clients include Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies such as Nike, KPMG, Ernst & Young, Barclays, and PayPal. And you can find more about her at lynnblades.com. Lynn, anything else you would like to share about yourself, your background, personal context before we dive on in?
Really, I am an expat living in London. I've been here for the last 25 years. I had a previous career as a television journalist working for the networks. When I arrived in London, I shot 2 television series that never aired, and that was a sign that I should go back to ground zero and reinvent myself. And it was my husband who said to me, you're a natural coach. You've always been a coach. And I took his advice. It was probably the most sound advice he's ever given me. And lo and behold, I have created a very, very good career for myself. So there you have it.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. It's always wonderful to have a good champion and a partner. I'm glad your husband was that for you. Great to hear about all the wonderful successes that you're having. And I'm excited to talk to you about your new book. One of the things I always love to ask authors is, why this book? Why now? So, writing a book is a labor of love. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy, a lot of frustrations, usually sleepless nights, lots of things like that. So what was it about this topic, and what was it about this book that you wanted to get out to the world?
I'll tell you, John, quite frankly, I got really tired of seeing highly ambitious and top performing women clients burn. But the funny thing about it is that I actually burnt out myself, and I ignored every single sign, every physical, mental, and emotional sign of that burnout, that it was coming, it was impending doom, until I was really knocked down, literally knocked down. And my burnout showed up as 2 disintegrated discs in my back, and I had to have a titanium cage with 3-inch screws put into my back for me to learn that lesson. So when I saw it amongst my clients, when I saw that they were in denial and that they weren't paying attention to the signs, and the classic is, oh, you know what, I'm gonna relax after this is done, or that can wait as soon as I get this thing over with, and when this happens. And quite frankly, that's all crap, because at the end of the day, if you don't pay attention to these signs, you are definitely going to end up burnt out. And women, 40% of women feel this kind of burn. Women in leadership in particular, we burn hard because we are conditioned, and women in general are conditioned, to put our needs last. Everybody gets prioritized over us. And when we do prioritize ourselves, we feel guilty because that's what we've been taught to feel. But the fact is, if you don't prioritize your needs, if you don't listen to the signs, then you will burn out. And when you burn out, you are no good to anyone. So if you prioritize you, everybody's going to benefit from that. And I just felt that that message was so important, especially now when all of us are standing on shifting sand.
Hmm.
And it
Hmm.
looks really a bit scary out there, not just a bit, a lot scary out there for a lot of people because times are changing so quickly and the impact is global. So
Yeah.
I think women, well, I was watching Shonda Rhimes' new series, The Residents, and she had a term in there that I thought was really quite funny. Too many dudes. You know? Too many dudes. I think there need to be a lot more women at the top table. I think there needs to be a far more diversity of thought. And I really feel that if that was the case, the world would not be in the position that it is now. And you know what? We have to take some of that on ourselves. We are responsible for not asking for what we want. We're responsible for keeping our heads down and not trumpeting our own successes. But all of those things weigh on you. They all drain you. They become energy drainers. And slowly but surely, they have a devastating impact. And that impact looks like burnout.
Yeah. Well, and let's not forget the system is stacked against you. I mean, patriarchy is a thing, and the whole system is set up for mediocre white men to rule. And that's what we're seeing. Like I don't know what you think about, and this isn't a political podcast, but I don't know what you think about, the state of affairs in the U.S. right now, but it's a shit show. And I things in DC. I was just out there with my two college age daughters in DC over college spring break, and it was surreal. It's really a surreal moment to be out there in our nation's capital, a place I've been a dozen times, to see the sights, to see these wonderful places that hold so much meaning. It's a totally it just feels different, to be out there with my daughters who, bless their hearts, feel almost like there's no hope in the future given the current context, and I just feel for them, and I just want them to feel like, no, there is hope. But I get it. Like I feel like, you know things are rough right now.
Things are more than rough. Things are in a state of crisis. I'm a
Yeah.
DC girl, born and raised. And when I look at how I was raised inside, inside of DC, my mom headed a department at the CIA when I was growing up. She moved from the secretarial pool and left with the Intelligence Medal of Honor. I saw that growth. I experienced that, America, it could happen. Yeah, the chips are stacked against us, but it could happen. And it seems like we've gone completely ass backwards. I don't
Yeah.
even know what to say. I feel for your daughters because there's a reason why they feel there is no hope.
Right.
Because there
Yeah.
actually looks like there is no hope. I don't know what's happened. It is a crisis. We are in a crisis. And I really wonder, are we going to stand up and say something about it? I mean,
Right.
I vote. I speak. I put it out there. I mean, I just wrote a LinkedIn post about the Smithsonian. It was my father's first big job and how I used to spend time there as a kid. And now we're trying to whitewash history because
Yeah.
it's diversive. Please. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It's insanity.
John, why
It's
did you even get me
insanity.
started on this? You know?
Yeah, yeah. This could be a totally different conversation, but a really fun
I-
one.
It's
Uh,
very messy out there. It is
it
very,
is.
very messy, and it is messy around the world.
Well, I think it's fair to bring this up because it's part of the burnout that people are feeling right now.
Yes.
Because it's not just the workplace. Like you said, women disproportionately put their needs first. They bear more of the brunt of childcare, elder care,
Home, everything. Yeah.
home, everything, right?
Yeah,
So there's all these things. We know it plays out in the research over and over and over again. So we
it
know all
does.
that's just a fact. It's a social fact, right? And so you have all that already leads to higher levels of burnout. But then you layer on top of that all these other social, political, economic realities that are at play right now. and just it's just heavy. I mean, everything is just heavy right now. And I figure if I feel it, and I'm a straight cisgender white dude, so I have all these layers of privilege, and I feel like if I wake up every day and I feel how heavy it is, that it's gotta feel like overwhelming to to other people who don't have all these layers of privilege that I have.
It
And that
does.
that just
It does
that's
feel that
just
way.
I just don't even know how to deal with that, you know?
You know what? You have to, if you, especially if you're a woman of any kind of ethnic background, regardless of your education and your stature, you are, basically at the bottom of the totem pole. You are. You're earning 70% of what your male counterpart is earning, and even you're earning 70% against a white woman's 85%. And that, pay equity, the parity issue is crazy. When you talk about your daughters, they're not going to see gender parity, pay equity for at least another 50 years, if not 100.
Hmm.
That is insane. Please tell me why. You can't give me any economic formula that will make sense to me why we can achieve gender parity far quicker. All of these things, like you said, all of these societal factors, they just add up and they wear you down. Burnout is really insidious. And sometimes you don't see it until it's right there on your back, or it feels like an albatross around your neck. But there's always the niggling signs. There's always a little bit of brain fog. There's always anxiety attacks, the stress factor when you open up your mouth and yes comes out when you really want to say
Hmm.
no, taking on responsibilities that you should not be taking on, people pleasing.
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
of these things add up. And quite frankly, the workforce has been diminished by the amount of women that are leaving. It's epidemic. It's an epidemic. They are tired. We are tired of it. And we can't find a way to get around it. And you know what else? Everybody's not a born entrepreneur. We need women in the workforce. We need women in corporate environments, and we need women at the top table. But we're losing them. We're losing them. And we can't afford to lose that kind of talent. And when you think about menopause on top of all of that,
Hmm.
the lack of menopause knowledge in workplace culture, the lack of support, the fact that we don't talk about it enough, all of those things really weigh on you. And it's just time to reprogram. And I think in the book, yes, spotting the signs, recognizing the signs, preventing burnout itself, but actually, I look at it as a manifesto. I'm like, stop putting everybody else's needs before your own. Take time to actually look inward and go, I deserve this. It's not why me, it's why not me?
Yeah, yeah.
Why not me? It's about time we ask that question. Women deserve way more, and we need to step up and say it out loud and demand it. And it really does need to be a collective type of situation. And we need good male allies, white men in particular, who hold the balance of power to support us and say enough is enough, to encourage us to step up and take our rightful place, to take on responsibilities and share those responsibilities that they should be sharing. So we do have more time to lead.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, I'm tired. I'm not the only one that's tired. I think a lot of women are tired, sick and tired of it. And that's
Yeah.
why I wrote this book,
No,
hoping to
yeah,
put a fire
that's
under some butts.
that's right. Not just tired, sick and tired. I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
Everyone should be sick and
literally.
tired, and they should raise their voice, and they should, try to be heard. But yeah, I get that it's just hard, and so the question is, so on the one hand, yeah, you need to recognize the signs of burnout. You need to protect yourself. You need to practice self-care. You need to have a rest ethic, to make sure that you're, prioritizing yourself, all of those things. But we're also saying, on the other hand, we're like, you need to advocate for yourself. You need to fight for yourself. You need, like, all these things, that takes energy. That takes, extra effort. And so, you know, how do we balance that? Like, how do we go about doing that, especially given this current context where it seems like things are just getting harder?
That's a really excellent question. And everything you said adds up to multitasking. And I do not believe in multitasking. Multitasking means that you're doing everything at about 60%. So
Mhm.
I believe in prioritizing, deciding what is most important. So when you're prioritizing, you're going to get it right. So I'm saying, what's more important? Asking for what you want, changing the scenario, making sure that you're on, living a balanced life, or, and claiming it, actually claiming it, or just going along with the status quo. So I'm prioritizing telling you what I want, making sure you know where my boundaries are, protecting my boundaries, not letting you overstep, looking after number one, because if I look after number one, you're going to get my best. And I think that you have to start there. You have to start with the ability to say no. One of my favorite words. No adds up to self-respect. And self-respect is key. I think that we've lost our way. We have compromised our self-respect. We've somehow become confused about what it is that we deserve. And I'm like, stop for a minute. And let's just think about this. Let's just look at it on paper. And if you look at it on paper and you see how out of line it is, the whole equity piece between men and
Mhm.
women, then you just kind of go, this has to stop. It doesn't make sense when you look at the facts in black and white. I'm saying look at the facts, stand up for the facts, and let's change the scenario, and let's unify and say we can do this a better way, and we can also, not just survive, but thrive and grow this female talent that we are losing right now,
Mhm.
that are giving up, literally giving up. And I think that's absolutely important. We cannot afford to burn out, and the world cannot afford to lose intelligent, talented women. And I wish there was a balance. People say, oh, men don't have EQ. Men have EQ. They have the same amount of EQ as women. The difference is that men believe in self preservation and women believe in cultivating relationships and nurturing. But actually, if you want to be balanced and you want to be able to make your way and thrive, I think you need both of those pieces.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm saying
absolutely.
cultivate that balance using both sides of your EQ and your intelligence. Because quite frankly, this shit don't make sense.
No, it does not. Um, One thing you said, I want to pick your brain on just a little bit. It's perhaps a little bit off topic in relation to the burnout piece, but it's a trend that's really concerning to me. And so I mentioned a minute ago, like, in my mind, I'm a professor, I'm a researcher. I consider it social fact. Like, all these things we're talking about, the equity piece, the issues that women are facing, I consider it social fact. Like, I think there's so much evidence to go behind everything that we're talking about. But there's a disturbing trend in my mind that, particularly among Gen Z men,
Mhm.
that they are kind of like, among millennials, we kind of saw this kind of, um, progressive trend of them accepting diversity and inclusion just naturally. Like, it just was innate. Like, they're just like,
Yeah,
of course we want
yeah,
more inclusion. But with Gen Z men, it seems to be going the other direction. This kind of, this hyper masculinity. There's another term for it I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but this idea that, that we need to move back towards kind of this hyper masculinity, and ultimately a lot of Gen Z men are basically questioning the whole idea behind gender disparity, equity issues, and they just don't believe it. They just think it's false, and it's misinformation, it's false information. They don't believe it, and I just it kind of blows my mind because there's so
It
much
is,
evidence.
yeah, it's a trip. And of course, we can thank the Tate brothers. And
Yes.
no, we can thank those fools, and we can thank, the radicalization of these young men and incels and all of this nonsense that we are hearing and seeing. I don't know if you've seen Adolescence yet, but
I haven't.
the Netflix series is basically about what, this kind of radicalization of young men, and how they look at women in particular, and how we are going backwards. But I do feel, and we can thank Zuckerberg for his "we need more masculinity and business." Oh, do we really? Do we? Where's that getting us? So I'm like, somehow, and it has been ushered in with this administration and in its previous administration, that there you can just tell lies and feed misinformation, and somehow we've become lemmings. We just buy in and we will all just fall in line and fall off the cliff because someone said we should go and fall in line and fall off the cliff because that's, where utopia is. I mean, I don't understand how so many, like a whole generation of people, not just old, not just young generations, but older generations, have been brainwashed to believe things that simply are not true.
Yeah.
And also, let me tell you, John, a big piece of this is fear. Somehow, the people who have always held the balance of power, white men, fear that this is going to be taken away from them. How could they think that? How? How could that really happen, honestly, in real terms? How could that happen? We're talking about sharing power, equal distribution of privilege. That's what we're talking about. We're not saying get out of Dodge. We're saying, hey, let's not have any more black holes in a homogenous thinking. Let's actually look at the world as a global place where we connect with each other in, nanoseconds, or whatever it is, that you can be talking to someone on the other side of the world, just like you and me. And yet we're not catering to that structure, to that sense of being a part of a global world where consumers want to see themselves. They want their needs to be represented at the top table. We're just talking about what actually makes sense. And if you're worried about the green, the bottom line is going to increase when you have a diversity of thought at the top table. And I'm talking, if you've got a woman up there, it's going to increase by 21%. And if you have people from different ethnic backgrounds, 31%. So these people who are so worried, and they're worried about their money, it doesn't make sense. This
Yeah.
thinking doesn't add up. So to me, it comes down to fear of losing privilege, fear of losing entitlement, fear of being extinguished. Well, guess what? Welcome to my club. This is a constant state of being, being invisible, not felt, not respected, unheard. So, yeah, that's not going to happen, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about the white male being extinguished or losing any kind of privilege. And you know what? I don't have like this whole thing. I'm just like about white men. I'm just like, share the power. Share
Right.
the
Yeah.
power because it
Yeah.
bloody makes sense to share the power. Stop burning out your talent. Stop making people feel invisible and be smart. It's the weak leader that rules by fear. Eventually, it does catch up to you. It does, and it will. And it's devastating because they burn a path along the way. So what's left behind, is often a big fat pile of ashes.
Hmm.
And that's the journey we're on right now, in my humble opinion.
I share that opinion. Uh, well said. I agree with what you just said. And man, we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to say here. I do note the time. I need to let you go, get on with your evening. But before we wrap things up, I wanted to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about your work, your DEI work, your book, where they can find that, and then give us a final word for today.
Well, if you want to find out more about what I do and who I am, LinkedIn is the place, besides my website, which is lynnblades.com. But I often express my opinions in colorful ways on LinkedIn. You either like me or you don't, but you know what? It's really lovely to be liked and loved. But if you don't like me and love me, I don't really give a shit because I like and love myself a lot. But I really do care about what's happening in the world today. And I am a fierce advocate for women and people from underrepresented backgrounds finding their way to the top table because you know what? We have something to say, something to contribute, something fundamental that needs to be added to the fabric of America and the world at large to have a lasting impact for our children and generations to come. So, get the wax out of your ears, listen to the conversation, take part in the conversation, and make decisions for yourself. Don't let other people make decisions for you. Don't be a lemming.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Lynn. It's been a pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, to get connected, find out more about what Lynn can do for you. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We hope you stay healthy and safe, and please join us again soon.